sent me to him. I was helping a gentleman who was being arrested, and I said, I was talking to the officer and standing up for the homeless guy, and I said, who in Berkeley helps those that no one will help? That's who I want to help. And the officer said, Officer Kevin said, you have to go work with OSHA. OSHA Newman, call him. I didn't research him, I didn't know anything about him, so I left a message. And I just said, I have to come and work with you because the Berkeley police told me, and OSHA laughed. He called me and goes, are you sure Berkeley police told you to come to me? I said, they said you suit them and you're really good and you help the people in Berkeley that no one will help, and I need to come and work with you. And so I did. I came and I interned with him and I followed him around. So my first toast, I have to explain it, because I haven't known him for that long. All of you know him so much better, but I just follow him around because I admire him so. You want to. So my first toast, and I want you to keep it, and we all agree that OSHA Newman is the best attorney ever, period. So you're going to hang that up, and there's nothing else to say. OSHA, we know that. Everyone knows it. Berkeley Police, Oakland, Libby Schaff, everyone knows that. So, ever. Period. So I go with OSHA in the Justice Mobile, and if any of you have gone out with OSHA and you know how he works, he does. He helps those that no one will help. OSHA will sit in the dirt, we'll go and we'll find a witness or we'll find someone, and OSHA will just plop right down. So I just plop down next to him. He climbs up the highest hills. We go in places that no one will go. We go in the bushes. We go where people live in walls, where they live in holes in the ground. And that's where OSHA is. So I made him to help Arisika and Emma and Rachel and your grandchildren to put in the Justice Mobile. I made you a Justice League emergency pack because OSHA does not take very many things out with him. So when you're on the ground at gas stations taking declarations with, thank you, Tyrion, the portable printer that he loves, you now have a extension cord that you can put your charger, your laptop, and your printer wherever you go, because OSHA will look for an outlet anywhere if it means he can get a statement. Second, I'll give you this real quick. A portable stapler, because you always have papers, you're always having someone sign something, and you need to keep, so this is always going to stay in your car with staples. Okay, a flashlight, which I got to figure out how to turn it on, but it does work. Maybe you all can help me with that, because OSHA's always in weird areas. Also, your emergency car lighter charger and charger for your iPhone, because you always need that when you're out and about, so this stays in your car. And when it's rainy and you forget, because you'll always pull over, you're always checking on everyone in Berkeley who knows you, all of your clients. Here's your rain poncho, because I don't want you to catch a cold, because you said you don't want to retire, you want to keep going, so we're going to keep you protected. Crazy glue, why? Because everyone should have crazy glue. We don't know why, but it'll come in handy. Right. Oh, because of Scrappy and all of our friends, we know you can always use a bungee cord, right? They always come in handy. You can tie someone to your roof. We just don't. Pens. We always need a signature. And last, to keep you really safe, please, when you go out, because he's always crossing the street, going under freeways, going where the lakes are, but there's always cars and police and people going by, a safety vest. Put it on so people can see you while you're fighting for justice. So it all goes into your emergency bag that should go in your car. And that's it. I think you're the most amazing attorney, and I love you.
Can you take all the love with me? Are you doing all right?
You're okay? Okay, so I am representing the, no, it's okay. I said to Amalia, my niece, earlier that I was really scared and I might need her to come stand with me. But now I don't feel that way anymore. So I'm Aminta Steinbach, daughter of Alan Steinbach and daughter of Sala Steinbach, who's not here but loves you from Woods Hole. Sister of Tyrion Steinbach, who was here earlier and left, and has been many things to OSHA, sometimes even weirdly OSHA's boss, which we all got a kick out of. Ooh, we love that. She what? Oh, Tyrion Steinbach. Also, I'm grateful to my sister Tyrion Steinbach today because she ruined the surprise. So amazing. Surprise parties, the worst part of which is that I'm always worried I'll be the one to ruin the surprise. And my very own sister did it for me. I was so stoked. Yeah, that's right. So, and I'm also aunt to Amalia and Joaquin. And importantly and relevant to today, to your birthday, OSHA, is that I am many things to you, and you're many things to me, most of which aren't so easy to come up with as aunt, sister, daughter, mother. I'm also a mother. Because what OSHA is to me, and to many other people in this room, is that other man. And not everybody is lucky enough to have another man in their life. You know, if we're really lucky, we have a dad. And some of us are really, really lucky and we have like a grandpa. And then maybe later in life we have some friends and brothers. But there's this other category of guy that you've been for me my whole life. For 48 of my 50 years, you've been for me this other guy. So when people say, well, who is OSHA to you? That I say, well, he's kind of like, I don't know, he's sort of like a dad to me. He's kind of like a dad to me. Because when I was little, sometimes he changed my diapers. Sometimes he was the guy that I went to when I was hungry. Sometimes at Black Bear Ranch, you were on kid trip and you were the one that was going to be in charge of everything, or I would go to at night if I couldn't sleep. Sometimes you were the one that sat by my side when I was crying or sick and tended to me and took my temperature. So that's kind of like a dad kind of guy, right? But then you're also just a guy that was in my house growing up. That at Black Bear Ranch and then later in Berkeley when we all lived together there, that you were a guy that wasn't Alan, my dad, but you were another guy. And you were an alternative guy, which was really important to me. Because in Alan I had some things. Alan gave me a good sense of order, for example. And OSHA demonstrated for me that order is not everything. I could be told to clean my room right now because it's important to the adults of the house. And yet I could argue back very convincingly, but wait a minute. Have you all been in OSHA's room recently? I don't even know what color the floor might be in there. I've never once seen the floor in there. Have you been in his car recently? So you represented to me that you were the guy that was like a dad, so nurturing, loving, caring, willing to offer guidance, but you were also something else. You also represented liberation to me, that you were someone that stood up for what it meant to be free, even when that was very uncomfortable. And so I saw from an early age that meant that you were on all different sides. You didn't just align with the ones that were just like you or that looked just like that or were just like that you aligned with liberation and then stood next to anyone whose liberation might be in jeopardy. And when we were growing up, a lot of times that felt like it was us kids. Because there was that unfair, weird thing where the grown-ups tried to say people should be free, except we get to tell you what to do and when to do it. And often OSHA was the one that was there kind of saying, yeah, I know I'm as tall as these other grown-ups and I'm over here, with some of the privileges of them, but I don't know, maybe the kids have a point. So as I grew into adulthood, I turned to some of those young people that I knew back then recently, and I started asking the question, did you all think like I did that there was such a thing as the kids' liberation movement? And so many of them answered back to me, yeah. And I said, well, that people that didn't grow up with us, when I say to them, when they say, where'd you get that idea of parenting, for example, I'll say, well, from the kids' liberation movement. And people will say, well, what is that even? And I started thinking back, well, where did I get this idea? And that I got that idea from you. That idea that anything can be a movement. If liberation is what's in our heart and liberation is what we see ahead in our vision, then all it takes is me and you standing here together, and that makes us a movement. So this idea that people know you because you sit in the puddles and take the statements and get the signatures, I can stand here and hear that and say, absolutely, that's everything about who OSHA is. And so much about who I am today comes from that. So thank you. I love you.
Gaba, we're going off order completely, but Gaba Greenberg is, we're back in Black Bear Ranch land, and if OSHA was the other guy for Tyrion and Minta, Gaba was definitely one of the other mother for Emma and I, so we're happy to have her here. Gaba.
Thank you. Our story goes back a long way. OSHA didn't know me or didn't see me until as soon as I saw him. Because I was there at Cooper Union when Herbert Marcuse was there. And you were there in the audience, or right in the front row. And I remember seeing you and Yeshi. And I remember because of Carol Herzenberg and Alan Hoffman, who Carol was my friend from college, and she moved to New York. She met Alan, and she became part of the Motherfuckers. And so I moved to New York. I moved in with Carol, and I met these people. So one of the first times, a couple times that I saw you, one was 68, the Democratic Convention in New York City. I was standing there with Carol. The horsemen were coming. The police on horseback were coming towards us, and people passed us baggies of hot blood that we threw at the cops. Wow. And that was through you. And then when the next time I think I saw you was in Boulder.
Not human blood.
No, cow blood. But it was hot and fresh. And we ran from those mounted police, but they were pretty surprised with the smack in the face with the bags. But then it was in Colorado, in Boulder, SDS convention, 69, and there was a big panel discussion, and at some point in that discussion, OSHA, went on and on and on, and we were arguing back and forth and all this, and there's all these students in the audience, and OSHA gets up and pulls down his pants, moons the panel as well as the audience. And then we had OSHA and Yeshi came and joined me at my little cabin in New Mexico at some point, and that was like our first, I think that's the first time you saw me. And you too, in a way. So it goes back. And then the next thing I remember was 1970, in the fall of 70, a VW van comes down the road to Black Bear Ranch, and OSHA and Yeshi step out of the van, and Yeshi's got a yellow sarong, very pregnant, with Rachel. And then began a whole new and very personal relationship, So, but I wrote a little something. So, happy birthday, OSHA. OSHA's grandfather of 4 incredible girls, and there's also some little girls here. Yeah, little girls are here, and 2 incredible daughters. Legacy, long-time marks on walls, murals depicting history, herstory, back before the beginning of our times. Your medley of stories, images, plays, work, pushing through. Remember the time you took the big kitchen drawer out of the main house. You spent the day walking between the main house, the workshop, the garage, Punky Pine, the barn, putting things where they belong, in the immigration of tools, goat nipples, shoelaces, rusty nails, frayed wires, screwdrivers, chalk, lamp wicks, mouse traps, vice grips, hose clamps, paintbrushes, and more. You are many layers of the onion, pieces of the puzzle, the struggle, deep pits of darkness, sun shining through found sculptures, weeds, waters, seeds of caring, a caring mind, being you. Mixing OSHA cakes, stirring bear mush and controversy, feeding children to fight for the future. Rock on, OSHA.
So we are going to end this part with a toast and dance by by Mary, and then one from OSHA, and then and then we know that all of you are here because you love OSHA incredibly, and there's something over there that looks like Scott is actually going to say something, which is a miracle of modern science. So it sounds like we have a couple more toasts and then the dance, and then those of you who don't get a chance, I just wanted to let you know that OSHA's not going anywhere because we're not letting him out of that chair, so you have a chance to give your toast and appreciations to him personally. So our next toast, it sounds like, will be Scott. Is that true? Scott, and then Mary, and then Arisika. Scott, you have to stand up. You know that, right? If you and come over here. Is that it? All right, he loves you. Mary.
Thank you, Scott.
You gonna come? I think that was it. He just took it.
You can come. You have a chance after me. He was done. All right. I lived with Osha and Arisika for a few years, but first my daughter moved out of the house and she found that great home. I followed her. Thank you for giving me a home. I made a card for Osha. I'm not a poet, but I felt inspired to write something. It starts with "Let's Dance." Humor, vision, heart, and vision, epic lasagna and juicy pie. Your paintings and sculptures make me high. Who nurtures earth at dawn? Community all day. Family at home is never alone. Eye of the storm, freedom fighter, fueled by love, action igniter. New Year's midnight naked dance among icy leaping ocean waves. I love you, Osha. So grateful that I have come to know you.
Arisika Razak, Osha's partner. Wife. Wife. And whatever.